Yo, I'm Ziggy Natulus speaking now. Who you think it was, Father Christmas? Well, before me give you that, hear this first.
Reggae singer Bob Handy has died. Veteran reggae singer and prolific songwriter Kenneth Bob Andy Anderson has died. Glory Music principal Tommy Cowan confirmed to the Gleaner that Anderson, who have been ailing for some time now, passed away at 8:30 this morning. That is March 27. This happened while at his home in Stony Hill, St. Andrew.
Greetings. This is Bob Andy reaching out to you from London. I'm thanking the International Reggae and World Music Award for awarding me the 50th Reggae Pioneer Award. I'm very humbled and honored to have received such awards. Thank you to Martin. And to my many fans out there, thank you very much for supporting me over the years, loving me, appreciating me. To all friends and wishers, thank you so kindly. I'm very grateful and again humbled and honored to have received it. Look out, Jamaica and world, for my new music coming soon.
Yeah, babe. You like how Ziggy Natulus sound? That the one they call. Yeah.
She doesn't want me around. She's got something to hide. I think she wants a clown, someone to take for a ride. I'm telling her that I'm too experienced to be taken for a stroll. I'm too experienced for someone to rock and roll. I'm too experienced to be taken for a ride. I know it's not my foolish pride. She hates the sight of me because I turn her off or down. She's always saying we were meant to be. Somehow she thought I'd be her crown. This is what I said, that I'm too experienced to be taken for a stroll. Too experienced for someone to rock and roll. Too experienced to be taken for a ride. I know it's not my foolish pride.
I started my musical career as a founding member of the Paragons in the early 60s. And I stayed with the group until the mid-60s, 66. Then I went to Studio One hoping to embark on a solo career. And I stayed at Studio One doing various things around the studio to earn a living until I started handing out songs to Marcia Griffiths, Delroy Wilson and Ken Booth. They liked the songs I played for them and they recorded them.
Just take these chains away and set me free. Remove me out of bondage and we will agree. No longer I've been a slave, I refuse to be anymore. I'd rather dig my grave than be locked behind the door. I wanna help myself be an independent man. I don't want no one to give me a helping hand, yeah. Whether you're black, whether you are white, I don't give a damn. I just want to be alright.
After I realized how potent the songs were, I decided I could start recording some with my own voice. And so that's basically how I started my solo career. Getting the confidence from hearing other people sing my songs. That confidence led me to want to record some of my own songs, and Bob Andy was born.
People see me acting strange, they might think it's a burning shame. The people don't realize the pangs of hell that I feel. So let them say I'm mad, they don't know how it feels to be sad. I don't know who could be bad in a situation like this. My last shirt's torn off my back, but that's not quite the fact. My shoe is down to my side. No place to lay my head, don't even own a bed. I can't remember when I eat bread. They don't seem to realize what really keeps me alive. It's the power that's so great that no man can destroy. They'd like to understand just where I get my helping hand. So they criticize while I look and live. Babu, babu, babaya. Babu, babu, babaya. Babu, babu, babaya. Babu, babaya.
It is a known fact that for the past 25 years, the entire world has more or less embraced the Jamaican popular expression of music and of dance.
People don't realize the pangs of hell that I feel.
Europeans have been civilized for a long time, and they have been exposed, especially Parisian, French people. They have a long history of tolerance for jazz, classics. So I would say, obviously, and because of Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Jimmy Cliff, myself, Ken Booth, Leroy Sibbles, obviously the artists of my time must have been doing something good for it to be appreciated by folks in this region, to motivate them to want to participate.
Me tell them, and me warn them, and me tell them again, not to trouble the radio dial when you're deaf on the radio, but they never want to hear.
My resistance is getting weaker, I just can't stand the pressure. I can't be any meeker, I've got to find me some of the treasure I need. Nothing to be a man, because I was born a man, and I deserve the right to live like any other man.
So may have to introduce them to my pet mongrel.
My mind is in such a state, sometimes it makes me sick. At times I've tried to hate, but I just don't know the trick. I need nothing to be a man, because I was born a man, and I deserve the right to live like any other man.
I think them get the message.
Experience has taught me wisdom. Thank God I've got some life left. I'm getting out of serfdom. My soul has standed the test. I need nothing to be a man, because I was born a man, and I deserve the right to live like any other man.
Wait interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin.
News broke on Wednesday that the entertainer who had been battling cancer for years was gravely ill. When the Gleaner spoke to Cohen that evening, he said that he was in the process of sending Bob a message of encouragement. In the early 1970s, Bob, whose career spanned several decades, recorded with Marcia Griffith. They had a major UK hit with songs Young, Gifted and Black and went on tour in England together.
Young, gifted and black. Oh, what a lovely, precious dream. To be young, gifted and black. Open your heart to what I mean. In the whole world, you know, there's a million boys and girls who are young, gifted and black. And that's a fact. Young, gifted and black. Must begin to tell our young. There's a world waiting for you. Since the quest has just begun. When you feel really low, yeah, there's a great truth you should know. When you're young, gifted and black, your soul's intact.
I did some of Bob Andy's harmonies before doing the duets. No, there are quite a few songs. That, for example, that's a song that will be here forever, you know, and it's played in every dance hall. Most of the sound systems use that song to win a lot of the clashes, you know, because that song will always be there. That was one of the songs, that was the first duet we had, because I remember when we had Young, Gifted and Black in 1970, Mr. Dodd was the first person to release a second follow-up for Bob and myself. No one else had anything with us, only Studio One.
Ziggy Natulus, I don't know if them have hard days.
Now get me a plate, I'm gonna show you something.
Get up! I knew one day we need for a day. Somehow I've always cherished that day. Look at it now, we met by mere chance. If it's alright, then let's start a romance. It's alright with me, so let's go. If it's
Greetings one more time. And big up to the world school children. First thing I know about life is that as a child, at one point, is that I was in the middle of the rural areas. And it occurred to me that this that is happening to me at that point in time is what life was or is. And I was so thrilled at that realization. Hadn't spoken to anyone, didn't get any information consciously or subliminally as far as I'm concerned. And so realizing that this that I am experiencing is life then occurred to me, but then I'd want this to be forever. And so at that moment the concept of God either entered me or revealed itself in me, because I started making a pact with God that I don't know why I thought I needed to have a sacrifice, but I wanted this to last forever, and if I had to give up a toe, I looked at whatever I could live without so that I could have this forever. And I still maintain that concept today, and all of that took me from a space of, for whatever reason, I was abandoned as a child. And there was my first close-up connection with a piano, an old piano that was in the house that the two of the daughters were given formal lessons, but they never ever played it. So I just introduced myself to it, and it slowly revealed itself to me. Out of that came my first couple of songs. Out of that came Paragons. Out of that came Bob Andy, Marcia Griffiths, and all those who my music has happened to touch.
Wait, it is. When I tell you nothing trouble the radio dial when Ziggy Natulus the on R.I.P. radio. That's how your face broad like a broad bean.
If you're gonna give me good kisses like that, honey, don't you know that I'm gonna give them right back, 'cause that's the kissing the way. Baby, that's the kissing the way. Oh, that's the kissing good way to mess around and fall in love.
And I really don't take any major claim for having these things happen through I or around I, because I don't remember at any time informing myself about any of these things, that I was going to be able to replicate them. So I'm still going through life. To me is demystifying mysteries. So, and that led to Studio One, which was like a main stop in my life, because I was, from my abandonment, by the time I started going to people who I never wanted to be with anyway, started, or a philosophy was how my mind developed. because I could only see things how I heard them, felt them, see them, understood them. And that took me into understanding friends, because when you don't grow with a family, you don't quite have the practice of sharing or empathizing or knowing what loyalty is and things like that, all those things. So you become loyal to yourself. I don't have any desire to be selfish. I mean, for me, if I have the nicest thing I've ever had, it wouldn't be nice if I weren't able to share it with someone else. And so, before I recorded a song for myself, and I had a song, I'd like call Ken Booth or Asada Marcy and sing it for them. So what? And the joy of seeing how they responded to it, we recorded that for them.
Baby, you like how Ziggy Natulus sound? You like it like that? You want some more? Got the one they call, yeah.
To be true to one another, to be kind and gentle to each other, to give your best when it's asked of you, to do what you have to do when you're supposed to. You've got to feel it. You've got to feel the soul down inside of you. You've got to feel it. Oh. If you're to feel it, you've got to be clean. You got to make it straight. You can't be lean. To share the joys togetherness can bring. To the true soul, you just have to cling, and then you will feel it, feel it, feel. You'll feel the soul inside of you. You've got to feel it.
I can only speak for the Paragons. Tyrone Evans, which were the two founding members, we started singing as Andy and Ronnie Anderson. Ronnie from Tyrone. And we started singing at Kingston Parish Church. We were scouts and somewhat choir members. I was not confirmed in the church, but I found myself in the choir anyway, wearing all those fancy garb, you know. I thought it was a joke that I could find myself in the choir without. And said there was the Blues Busters, one of the greatest duos in the history of Jamaica. There was Keith and Enid, it was Alton and Ellis, Alton and Eddie, the Charmers, and various other duos. And Tyrone said to me, boy, Higgs and Wilson. Tyrone said to me, you know, look rough as a duo. I don't know how we're going to stand up to all those powerful duos out there. And so the idea of a third person and a fourth person. And so that's how we became. We started out from a quintet. We got to a quartet. And this group was originally the Binders before John Holt. And the lead singer was Henry Buckley, who further went to England. He was a member of the police fraternity. He went to England and studied music as an officer in the army in England. And when he came back, he no longer could be a part of the group.
Baby, we can't sleep.
Why?
Because me listen to Ziggy Natulus on R.I.P radio. The man is so bad, me love him, you see. Musically bad.
fellow we met by the name of Junior Menz, who went to America in the early days of my generation. And he went to school with Little Anthony and the Imperials and other boys, doo-wop groups that grew out of that era. And there was a group, he said, that was potentially going to be a great group from school, and they disbanded. And that's where he gave us the name Paragons. And then he went on to become a member of the Techniques and Queen Majesty, Junior Menz. He died in New York not too long ago. And we used to rehearse at the police officers club on East Street, by the courthouse, where there was a billiard room, a piano. No one played the piano but us and a guy living up the road called Bully. And so we started rehearsing there. We were pretty much like the Drifters. The Drifters got its name from people coming through the group. Yes, like pretty much like those orchestras of the day where you'd be a part of count bass and then you would step up to your own band, and that these groups were like institutions. And so the Drifters, they drifted in and out, Clyde McFatter, Benny King, Rudy Lewis, etc. until the group just went along that road. Singers replacing singers and into different eras of hits. And so the Paragons started as when we became four, and then we started rehearsing at just after two of my favorite persons died the same year. Sam Cooke.
What you have to tell them?
Don't know much about history.
And what you have to tell them?
Don't know much biology.
And what you have to tell them?
Don't know much about a science book. Don't know much about the French I took.
That the one they call.
But I do know that I love you. And I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be. Don't know much about geography. Don't know much trigonometry. Don't know much about algebra. Don't know what a slide rule is for. But I do know 1 and 1 is 2. And if this one could be with you, what a wonderful world this would be.
We started rehearsing at Evans' house, looking for a lead singer. Guys came in and out. And one day someone passed and heard us singing and said, I have a good friend of him, can sing with a good in him, named John Holt. He told us how to find John, so we went down to John's house. Saw his mother, who was so really very happy to see some decent looking boys coming to check John. And she gave him the message and he came to where we were, and that's who we were looking for. Because he had already had an established voice. He had done the Rising Stars of those days, and had gone through the rigors of audience interaction and so on. So we started singing the songs of the day. I don't remember how we got to the Vikings, the Mighty Vikings, which was one of the early dance bands of the 60s, along with Carlos Malcolm, Afro-Jamaican Rhythms, Byron Lee and the Dragonaires, Keshin and his orchestra, Lynn Tate and the Jets, Scatterlights. There was a plethora of orchestra dance bands. And so Paragons became a household name before we actually recorded a song.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, let's have 3 cheers for Ziggy Natulus, who's on R.I.P. Radio. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! You're the good show, won't you?
Riding high, but I'm holding on. I'm gonna be your number one.
I'm not the kind of man who gives up just like that. No, it's not the things you do that really hurts.
some things were happening around me, people getting killed, and it occurred to me that this happened twice in my life. The album called Freely, which was done later on my own label. And it occurred to me that since the next breath is promised to no one, you might just start do something, because I wasn't at Studio One anymore. I wasn't at Federal Records. I never knew if I wanted to be an artist anymore. But the only thing I could harness then was some creative skills. And I got the studio from Mrs. Pottinger, the freedom to use the studio, and a very good engineer, budding engineer, Errol Brown at the time. And Sly and Robbie were the revolutionaries, or the revolutionaries, whatever it was, who was the studio band at the time in Treasure Isle. And so I just went down there, borrowed 3 of the songs from songbook so I could make a full album, and recorded some new ones that I had been feeling over the period, but was not wanting to involve myself with Coxsone anymore. And so this attempt was to become an individual who would own my master, but still needed money to do a studio. So Pottinger became the executive producer because of her convenience, and I am the creative producer, and I'm the writer of songs. So I'd helped to produce Marcia Griffith's album Naturally the year before, which I was not given credit for.
Ziggy Natulus, I don't know if them have hard days. Me tell them, I me warn them, I me tell them again.
If everything in life was right, then we would never have to fight. So if we never use the brain, then only carcass would remain. If man had never used his hands, then he would never understand the joys of making this and that and winning money from the slot. Forget about stupidity, discover your ability, develop your creativity, cultivate humility to brave the stormy weather. Oh, my brother, and heed my foolish words. You see, the more you give to life is the more you get from life. So go on and give, don't count the cost. And the less you give to life is the less you're gonna get from life. So go on and save your dough, your soul might be lost.
Leroy Sibbles, my brethren who have the heptones. We were talking just recently, and we were reminiscing on the days when, before this knowledge of copyright and its nuances, out of the love for wanting to hear a song sounding better or give it its maximum potential, if that young lady came along with a song and she was voicing, and we thought 3 of our voices loaned to it would enhance it, and we never thought about credit or money. It was the thing to do at the time. Yeah, and the love of the music and of the people participating. Because even if you had squabbles with someone, a music could just nullify that at any time. And as much as we started learning about competitiveness, we also started learning about how competition can be good. So I am coming from a concept of -0. That means everything in my life is a plus, because that's how it seems to me. And it doesn't necessarily mean 10 bottles. Could be 10 ideas. But once it materializes, it sends people crazy.
I was drawn into myself, observing all this time.
pretense, you're on the wrong side of the fence. Ooh, yeah.
You better believe me. People, believe me when I tell you another thing
I saw in vision right in front of my eyes. Sisters prostituting, selling away their lives.
they get but very little pay.
The ones who clean the mess,
Minority
who sits on top just to rate themselves the best.
but I see the fire spreading. It's getting hotter and hot. The house will wanna be in the shoes of the have-nots. If the sign is on your door, then you will be safe for sure.
but if you are in pretense, you're on the wrong side of the fence.
I did not coming out of a group where I was not, one of the fight I had in Paragons that I knew John Holt had my reasoning, gifts and talents. A gift, you can just pull the bow, the ribbon, and use it right away.
Right.
A talent you have to develop. So I formed a group to develop my talent and share my ideas with young people like myself. However, John Holt, who had a gift, became quite, and I love him dearly, and I understand that, became quite obnoxious with the fact that he was so much more obviously stronger than us. And when this thought became a behavior, I decided I'd leave. And so?
Ziggy Natulus, I don't know if them have hard years.
This station, rock the nation.
So the musical part cover.
But what does it really mean?
Sound it again.
Alright.
I've given my sweat, I give up my heart, but it only makes me fret. Why must I feel the way that I feel? Oh, tell me why. How long can I go on the way I'm moving on, living a life that I can't explain, living a life that is causing me much pain. Whoa, 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 how can I live the way I'm living, I'm living, I'm living, I'm living. Can I go on feeling the way that I feel? I wanna know, won't you?
Tyrone and myself, who started at Parish Church one Friday evening in 1966, went down to Parish Church, and he said to me, that year we entered the year that Bam Bam won the festival. 1966 was the same year His Majesty came here. We fired John Holt from the group and brought in Vic Taylor, who went along to sing with Byron Lane Long. And Vic Taylor used to sing with a group called the Monarchs. He came to sing with the Paragons. I wrote a song for the festival. You know what the Jamaica Festival is about? Songs for festival competition. And the best one is what they use, is to celebrate the festival. For the first year, 1966, they had known names enter the competition. So the Blues Busters wrote a song, I'm a Happy Man. Joe Higgs wrote a song, I don't remember. Winston Samuels wrote a song. Derek Hyatt wrote a song. Paragons wrote a song, Remember Me. So we're writing love songs and some were writing songs meant for celebrations. But it was the year, like I said, we're in the 10 of us and we did the rounds. And Bam Bam won the competition. After which I went to Parish Church and Tyrone said to me, well, Keith, Vic Taylor is a very good singer, but John is more compatible for the group. I said, that's so true. And I understand that and I respect that. However, if John comes in, I'm stepping. I said, you can't. I said, but of course I can. So I left.
Hey, Ziggy Natulus, I don't know if them have hard years.
If you don't get to the studio, we won't have any records for the rally.
I can take it down right now.
By the time you get there, it'll be closed.
I can take it down right now.
I'll be sure you come back in a hurry.
Hooligan, stop for a while. Take your hooligan style. Don't fight your brother, you must use your head. Give a helping hand instead. Oh, what a great sensation when love is in your soul, spreading across the nation. Hooliganism is cold. Let only love fill your soul. Fill up your soul. What a man gave by doing God, only letting down mankind. Check on yourself if you're doing alright. Forget about your mind. Oh, what a great sensation when love is in your soul. Spread it across the nation. Hooliganism is cold.
When I turned up at Cox's studio, I mean, I was a utility man, but I didn't know it. Because then he said, wow, man, I mean, it's like a long last relationship renewed. And the idea of writing a song or auditioning a group, because I played all those roles. But then I had to eat from day to day, so I went to Cox and I said, but you have to have something. I'm going to have to wait on royalties. That might never come. I need to do something so I can get paid at the end of the week. Or one day, whichever day you want to pay me from. Says, well, the only work we have here going is to take records out. Didn't have a salesman, so I had to pack those records in boxes of 25 in each box, and whatever amount of boxes I could hold on my carton box and whatever I could hold in my band. So I started out my days going to the record shops, delivering records, getting invoices, and aiming to finish that for the day's session to start, because 5 days a week Coxon had a live session from anywhere between 10 o'clock and 6 o'clock. The studio was a haze with ganja smoke and stories and people finding keys and people adding melodies. And so as difficult as the work was to foot it to all those record shops, I bust it wherever I could. The real reward was to go back to see the creative aspect of the day. I am one of the building blocks of Studio One. I was its first salesman. I took out records and I never stole a penny. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't, because they were all accounted for. And so I never robbed a penny out of that money. For I to be living with them constantly robbing me in my life, which is not something I'm supposed to be saying because the case is still in court, but it hurts. And the Jamaican government has to look into the fact that there are artists who have sung songs back then who have earned millions of dollars and pounds and euros. But they say there is no law that says if you don't have a contract, there's no law that says if your voice and your likeness is on the record, there's no law that says you must get paid. Something is wrong somewhere.
Young, gifted and black. Oh, what a lovely, precious dream. To be young, gifted and black. Open your heart to what I mean. In the whole world, you know, there's a million boys and girls
Rest in Zion, Lion, a king, a legend, Bob Andy. Yes, I did a lot for the human race, reggae community. Blessed love, condolence to the whole family.
I say, yo, chap, did you know that Ziggy Natulus is on R.I.P radio at this moment?
Hell yeah.
And did you know he is also playing some classical tunes?
Hell yeah.
Just take these chains away and set me free. Remove me out of bondage and we'll agree. Too long I've been a slave, I wanna be no more. I'd rather dig my grave than be locked behind the door. I wanna help myself, be an independent man. I don't want no one to give me an helping hand. Whether you're black, whether you are white, I don't wanna give a damn, I just wanna be all around.
Anderson was confirmed with Order of Distinction in the rank of Commander of his contribution to the development of Jamaican music by the government in October 2006. Now, condolences to the family of Bob Andy. Bob, thank you to the contribution to music and to Jamaica's culture.